octave low or octave high?
Yeah. I don't think they were the same,
Radio! Oh, we
lost it.
Okay.
I think he won.
He lost that match. He lost that match. He's the last one. Did he win or did he lose?
You know, I have to try and look at the positives of the last few months, and I think I'm going in the right direction. I think I dealt with the situations and the ebbs and flows in that match well, and I felt much more comfortable on the court today than even I did at the US Open.
Okay, Andy Murray there, talking to reporters after a match. Dave, let's start with yourself. You won. He won that match. Pippa.
Well, he was saying his technique was quite good, so I think he lost.
Yes, Pippa.
That is 2-pack California Love.
Is she right? I'm an incessantly lazy person. I'm very lazy until it's something that I'm really interested in, I want to do, and then I'll move mountains to do it. On a Monday night at 9:15 at night,
Oh my
I realised
God.
I've got to put the bins out because it's bin day tomorrow. I'll do it in the morning. Now that for me, all I have to do is get off the sofa, go to the front door, grab the bin, move it. Move the bin.
Yeah.
I don't need to empty the bin.
A lot of fresh air, probably meeting people.
Are you trying to now make being a bin man sound like a really good, sexy, healthy job? I think it must be one of the worst jobs in the world.
Okay, forget about the meeting people bit.
All right. How many times have you ever been in bed, you and Hannah?
Fucking idiot.
And you go, yay, bin men are here!
Hands back on shore, out of the Druid gang, and I will sacrifice you. I will sacrifice you so
Don't
hard
mention the S word.
to my god Odin.
That is offensive. Odin, that's paganism. Nordic paganism.
They're all the same.
Oh, no.
Now come on, Philip, Shut up, mate, you're ruining my druidry. Go on, right, we're holding hands again, Philip. We are feeling connected.
You're all holding hands. Now you feel the way it's different. Lots of. I think what's fabulous now. I mean, what's terrible now is the sort of state that the world's got into with you know the environment and Trump and all the horrible things that are happening. All of it. However, what's good is there's an incredible amount of people who are really switched on and who are kind of tuning into this stuff.
Yeah. Just fishing, and then I go look round and go, oh, hello, like that, like I didn't know they were there.
Do it.
That's right. Oh, hello.
Hello, Matt.
Just fishing here.
What forgotten knowledge will you be bringing us this week, Mr. Morgan?
I'll tell you about a magical material which will keep you warm even if it's wet, and it's the only one on Earth.
Oh?
Not sure how to help with even if it's wet. For tips on what you can say, turn on the microphone and say, help.
It's called wool.
I'd like the lights just to be at one colour, uniform lights, so just a single bulb. Dim it down so you can actually see the filament. Merry Christmas, study the filament.
Yeah, bloody deal, Gray, you want to get behind old Russ. Meanwhile, other residents were delighted with the revelation.
Look, all asks to come, and there's only 28 seats. It's the most ridiculous. Like, we need to do something in a big theatre or something.
We need to book out the Albert Hall, or possibly Wembley Stadium, to invite people, the many fans of this radio show, to stand by discreet glass panels.
Can everyone just come down to the front, please?
Right, move along.
And then it was just like 2 rows at Wembley.
That'd be bleak.
Well, why don't we go to the woods? Do a show in the middle of the woods?
Yeah, see, that's what I'm all about that.
Well, we have 5 characteristics for a cult, but the most important one by far is that it's a group using psychological techniques to recruit people. These are often called techniques of psychological coercion, mind control, or today, in connection with terrorism, they're called radicalization techniques. And they're the same things then that turn someone into a terrorist, but most cults, of course, don't program you to go around shooting people, and so terms like mind control and psychological coercion are usually used.
Okay, so what's an example? What is a verified cult then? Can we say, like, you know, aside from terrorist organisations that are well defined and understood, what cults are operating in the United Kingdom right now?
Well, there are up to 1,000 cults operating in the UK.
There's loads of them.
And so on a per capita basis, we're talking about a similar problem to that. What I can do is to try and help people less fortunate. So anyway, she told me there was a meeting with about 100 people in a ballroom in a hotel the following week.
Sounds brilliant so far.
Why not come along? And so I agreed I'd do that. And,
Right, now Ian, can I just, before we go any deeper in the story, at this point, you've popped to the shops in Canada, you've got a shopping list, peanut butter, Marigold, Brillo pads. Now, and she's asked a few questions, should there be more education? You've gone yes, yes, yes. She said you should help more in the community. You thought I should have helped more in the community. She's invited you to a bloody ballroom, and you've gone, right?
Yeah,
right?
that's it.
Right, cooperating causes, it does not follow that there is an ego personality. As the body of flesh is an aggregate of elements, it is therefore impermanent. If the body were an ego personality, it could do this, and that would determine.
That's clear for everyone in there. Yes.
If one is asked whether the body is constant or impermanent, he will be obliged. We've raised that bar right up again. We've responded to the producer's notes. We've responded to the letters, and that is radio. You can just leave the Sony Awards by the door. Thank you very much. Listen to the podcast. Come see me on tour. Give Matt anything you like for free.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
DNA. Coming up after this commercial break will be Mr. Gordon Smart.
I agree.
Yeah.
Really?
Such a specific phrase.
Yeah, you're all right. Wow.
My great man.
Yeah.
In this particular gay pub was the music was very loud. Very loud.
Right.
Can't hear yourself think.
I think about this right here thing the other day, thinking, should we just because we've got a fair few listeners in Australia.
Yeah.
There must be a rubbish radio station.
The relaxation hotspot is at the top of the tree. That's where you'll find calm.
When they go and see a film they've sort of seen before and get those same emotions. It's like downloading a quick download. So they haven't got time to experiment, but in case it's a thing they don't like and they've wasted 2 hours of their time. And I think that's the problem. Same with most radio. It's the same.
Yeah, compared to these relics.
Whoa.
And compared to being placed in a room with these ancient men. Yeah.
And Sean is one of my supports on tour. I've used a couple. Ben Bailey Smith, who was on a while ago, and Sean, we just played. Oh God! One of boxes.
Really kind of, the audience have to, it's not him just being a milksop. But he has other rules, things that he won't talk about. And I asked him, I said, what other things? He said, well, I think about jokes about cancer. He says, and I kind of think.
idea. I can't choose my ideas. That came into my head. I didn't create that. It came into my head.
That shock when you're on stage and you have that moment where suddenly a sentence comes out and you go, why didn't I find that sentence before? It's the perfect way to end this routine.
I know.
How is it suddenly?
Yeah.
And again, we go back to shamanism. That bit about gigging, have you seen that episode of two?
It's just a joke, like if you read it, it's like morning to number 2, you too. So morning to you too.
All right, okay, that's fine. So
shall I text him now?
text him now.
What shall I say?
Should we call him?
No, let's text him first.
Okay.
So that's fine.
Because he's the first one that we think of who would be available, and I wonder whether
I'm sure there are jobs that you've done where the work say you're listening to the podcast.
And
Bear in mind, he's been busy the last week.
clear that we're on the podcast, so don't swear.
Well, he's not replied, so he's not.
That's what I mean.
I worry that Dom's worrying now.
But back in the old days, Cheggers would have been on it. Quick turnaround.
But he might be busy.
Yes, I'm sure he is, but there'd always be time for a quick text.
But you don't know what he's doing this very moment.
I have no idea what he's doing.
What if he's driving?
Well, then we can phone him and he can speak to us.
Yeah, but we don't know that.
We don't know that.
What if he's in the middle of... If he's in the middle of the...
No.
What?
You know, the old...
No.
What? What's that?
You know, the old...
No.
What? What's
the old...
Tom, stop saying no, what's that?
The old...
So keep going.
Yahoo!
What's that? I don't know what
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what he's saying.
Is he, you know, doing it?
No, I said a lovely good afternoon, Keith. Hope you're well. It was about Rob.
Oh, well, there you go. If you're writing,
Keith, we were wondering if you might help us out with something on the show next week. It's really polite, not.
Girl, oops. Sorry.
I think they're doing a demo.
Is she doing a demo?
Maybe.
Oh, can we tune in?
No.
Oh, come on.
I actually don't know how.
Oh, come on. We could put her demo on the actual podcast.
Yeah, that'd be great. How cool would that be?
Get our podcast listeners to rate.
I think that's frowned upon.
Do you know the guy? Do you know who's very interesting?
Yeah, I get the gist.
Do you think she does? What, on a first date? Probably. She seems the type. Yeah, cheap perfume. Yeah.
I don't remember it going.
Oh, yeah, she's probably well easy.
What are you doing, mate?
Easier than Sudoku in the sun. All right. Did she now? Like this. Oh my God! Samuel, you met Samuel L. Jackson. And then Jake goes, yeah. Oh, nice to meet you. All right. My dad goes, oh, well, you're all right. And then those two go off, and I'm like, Samuel L. Jackson.
Living in this country, we are enormously privileged, and you're even more privileged to do this job. I was outside, we were talking outside about how this job, being involved in the media, can really interfere with your moral chemistry. People running after you to get coffee and that sort of thing. When I worked doing really serious cases, you'd be lucky, including, as I say in Sierra Leone, you'd be lucky for someone to make you a cup of tea. All of a sudden, you show up to do television, you've got people running after you.
But do you not love that?
No, I don't. I think it's really damaging. After sort of 3 weeks, one starts turning into Kim Jong-un. It's just a bad idea. It interferes with your...
What a great quote.
You need to kind of, keep that in check.
But a little bit of you must love that. Cool, because you...
Really, I've always imagined that people are running after me, even if I didn't want it. But I don't talk about him because, he's a very serious person. And so the problem is if you Google me, he's entitled to his own privacy. And
sure. Do you have a scenario where you're both... You're getting ready to go to bed, you're taking off your silk gown, because that's what I imagine you wear.
I don't like shambles, they're too sweet.
It's only a pint and a half.
Well,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, but then, you know what? I've not even added up the calories, because you're basically drinking lager and lemonade, and it's probably the same amount of calories as a beer.
Yeah, there's a lot of sugar in lemonade.
On Saturday night just gone, when it was I made Rob's birthday drinks. You know when you're drinking like a fish, which is, for you, Dave, when you're drinking. Are you in the Glastonbury traffic? Tell us what colour car you're in. Also, what model of car it is, and also whether or not you're close to the traffic. What like repeat fee.
Yeah, didn't yes.
What?
But you didn't agree it at the beginning?
No, there wasn't an option.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't an option to get repeat fees.
Well, I mean, that's... But, and then he did Pecker, you never saw what he looked like. He's voiced many things. I went with him to a voiceover now. Can I come? And he goes, yeah, why do you want to come? I'm like, I just want to come, I want to go. He goes, yeah, fine. So I sat in the big studio and he sits through the glass. Yeah, we need to start spreading
the love.
Well, I was going to say the word, but yeah. Didn't you get arrested once for spreading your love?
A long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to talk about it.
Right.
I get that.
Certain countries you can't travel to.
Apparently. Quality control.
Hey! Hi, where's my hay?
Hey!
Thank you. So, yeah, I'm not here next week. Yes. I'm on jury duty next week. That's it. Dumb. You know that big building?
Yeah, I'm out.
Empire State of Mind. Empire.
Down on Tribeca. Right next to do.
Empire State of New York.
Be hooked forever.
Ready?
Yes.
Empire State of New York.
Yeah. Dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do.
Word. High five, my friend Dominic Byrne.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
All right, you're singing a Pippa song.
Yeah, that is. The sorry, just get Good Lord.
Pippa is the fox who's asking the questions today.
Should we just get on with the full tuxedo? It's full tuxedo.
Is it?
Yeah, on
It's
Saturday.
Saturday Yellow Day as well. Was it Saturday or was that Sunday?
It's Yellow Suit Day.
Yellow
because
Suit
it's
Day.
a charity
Saturday.
thing.
That's right. I'll Google that before I do turn up in all yellow.
It's for charity. So should we just get you a yellow suit? Yeah. You know what? Actually,
right.
you know the film Dumb and Dumber? Yeah.
Come on.
Colour suits. That's what we'll get. You and David. Sky blue and white.
Would you shout one word out? One word out during the silence and we'll just get told off.
Yeah. And you know the word is, don't you?
Yes.
Balls.
Or come on, Tim. Always a good one. It's always a good one, especially those British players.
No, do you know what you shout? You know what you do shout?